wrong slide. Right, so you might not know there's an AMR community, or maybe you're already part of it. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a community of people and of innovators who can try and solve the problem of antimicrobial resistance, which is the fact that right now lots of bacteria, things that can give us disease, they are becoming resistant to the treatments that we use to get rid of those diseases. So people are coming into hospitals, they're getting disease, and what used to be very easy to cure is no longer very easy to cure, and it's because lots of problems that we talked about during our AMR MOOC or module that a lot of you will have attended. And now it's our ambition to move on to the second part of the program. Now we have a kind of curriculum on what AMR is, to give out a single microgrant of €1,000 to one team that wants to do some good in their local area, or maybe on a more grand scale. And so we're also trying to do a bit for AMR by mapping the AMR distribution in Ghana and Tanzania, and that's the MicroVis app and by teaching. But you can also do very similar thing. So basically, there's €1,000 pilot funding. So we're hoping to, once you've got the money and other teams have been formed, we're hoping that this can be more of a long-term project as well. So we're interested in applying for other things. And so we're hoping this is a stepping stone that could be that's the end. But €1,000 pilot funding. And it's for an antimicrobial resistance project. So any project, if it's education, if it's research itself, if it's just something to tell your hospital that they need to be careful about the AMR, if it's anything like that, anything that would help some people, then you can apply. And you can apply here on this link. So I might even click it. I'm tempted to. But what effectively happens is once you use this link, which is if you type in onto Google or anything, JOGL, and then find the challenge AMR Africa Grants, and we'll put it in the chat, I'm sure, as well, so you can find it, and later in announcements. You can create a project on JOGL, and using that project, it can act as an application. And what will happen is we'll have a list of quite a few applications, and as an applicant, as someone who has a project once you've created it, you also are part of the review process. So it's not like other reviews where we have a panel or a grant panel. In fact, it's a very democratic process. And then at the end, the person who, or the group that has the greatest score as determined by other applicants, they will be supported by us, but so will lots of other projects as well. We'll try and help in every way we can. So actually this works really well, and we've done it before already. So, but with more funding for Open COVID-19, which was a very similar initiative where we said, okay, look, we have money, please apply and create projects. And we gave about €110,000 to projects across the globe, and they reviewed each other. And since we've funded 36 new projects, many academic papers have been produced, 22 solutions. And what's really cool about it is it's quite equal as well. So it's equal opportunities. Anyone in the world can apply. We'll probably have similar grant rounds to this in the future, as well as with the AMR Grant Challenge. And we've had thousands of people work with us, and it's created quite an amazing community on JOGL. So we've had 443 reviews, and I'm just trying to explain that this works very well. So applicants review each other just like the non-applicants do, and we use a form. So once you've created your project on JOGL and the deadline approaches, then we'll send a form for everyone who's applied, and that form will be used to score other people's projects, and that will be how we separate the projects by quality. And here's a little graph, and what we have is we have feasibility versus impact, and we sort of put the best projects on one side, that's determined by the community, and the ones that don't do as well don't do as well, and so they won't get the funding, but will still help as much as we can anyway. And so the very good projects are funded. In this case, because it's just the one grant, it'll be the one project that's funded. But what's cool about this is it's actually fair. So in traditional grant review, what happens is a lot of the time it'll be one grant panel instead of only a few people. And what we found is our review correlations, or that is the agreement between reviewers, is steady. And also, if you remove reviews, it tends to be that the ranking of projects remains the same, which is very good for fairness and democracy. And then, so what's happened? We've had this idea of where we collaborate together. We sort of create as much excitement as we can about the microgrant. And then what's happened from all this system is we've had so Helpful Engineering, it's this great big charity. We've had Quantified Flu, which has been a successful research paper. Helped people academically. We've had Open Enzyme Production, which has become a whole great big charity. Friendzymes, which has set up their own hackathon now. Basic Respirator, which is a startup by Hunter Futo, and she's doing a sort of lecture / grand announcement in 2 weeks, which will be incredibly interesting. You should very much attend if you're a healthcare worker. She is creating an app that can check what size respirator fits your face without having to do a manual in-person checkup. And also it's a sustainable mask that she's creating, which is very cool as well. And we've also been creating LAMP tests for detection of coronavirus and many other things. And one interesting project, or a couple of interesting projects that are in Africa, we have Vault School, which is an educational project, which is what is the name now, which has done very, very well, and is teaching, I think, roughly now 1 million students during the COVID crisis when they can't go to school. They can use some versions of online learning if it's available. And also for very, very low bandwidth costs as well. And we've also got a project in the Philippines. So we're now hoping to do the same kind of thing, but for antimicrobial resistance and in Africa. And so that's sort of the review process. Once you've created your project, you can apply here. So I'll just put this link now so we can see what's happening. So basically, you go to this web page, which is, if you can search on JOGL as well. So if I was to search on JOGL, anyone can sign in. You can create your own account. You will need to create an account to apply, but it's very easy. You go to challenges, and you can see that we've got AMR in Africa grant round. And so that's just next to the MOOC that we hosted earlier for the online learnings. And all the steps to apply for the grant are visible on the challenge as well. Apologies, it's taking some time to load. And what you do is you create a project. So if I was to press the submit a project button, this would be a project that you create on JOGL, and anyone can create a project. And I've already made lots of projects, so you can see them all popping up here, but you can create a new project as well. So you can create a project in JOGL with also many other buttons. So create, there's a create a project, for example, as well. Create a title, and then once it's sort of near ready, so if there's any projects that are applied yet, but I'll show you an example project, which is quite interesting. So, so someone's already had a go. So I mean, maybe I don't want to give you a view of what they've done so far, but all the projects are visible online, so you can help each other. I would recommend, if you can see someone else doing a similar project or they live near you, or if you can think of a way that you can create new collaborations, then please reach out. ask if there's anyone that lives nearby, and we can see if there's any sort of group project you can do, but also international projects are welcome. So there's lots of iGEM teams. So I talked about iGEM earlier, that they're creating projects to create solutions to various things, but not on the AMR yet, I don't think. There's more of a local scheme. Okay, let's have a look at this project that one of the iGEM teams has made. So they've created like a little banner, and then they go on to this. They've used the template which has been provided by them and is available on the grant challenge. And they've just created all the things they're going to do on their project. And then what happens is this will be reviewed by other people. So in the AMR Africa example, this will be reviewed by yourselves and you'll score it. And in the end, that'll be how we sort of allocate projects. So I'm really, really excited. I mean, this is only this. I feel like this is a stepping stone towards making a more open future, where the people who are actually doing the work can decide who gets the money. So yeah, that's the AMR Africa grant. I'll go back to the slides now. Are there any questions? I'll just have a little look in the chat. Yeah, you can see where again we've put the project. Anyone can apply. So I really do encourage you to apply. It'll be great for your CV if you're a student, or it'll be great for, and also great for the world if you manage to do what you wanted to do, like many projects have before with us. And it's also a great learning opportunity as well, because even if you don't manage to get the grant, there is only one grant in this case, then you'll also get the opportunity to see other people's projects. You can join their project. You learn how the review process takes place. It's a good piece of learning. Even to apply is a great achievement. So yes, I'll stop sharing now. I can't hear what anyone else saying. So yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Chris. I think that was a really great overview of the AMR Microgrant Challenge. And I just looked at it, and I was looking at the assessment criteria that you put forth, and I was like, this really connects to some of the things that Lebo was saying about whether what you're doing is relevant and the impact of it. So it's really great. And I also like your point about collaboration. First of all, you have the opportunity to come up with your own project idea and get support for it. But secondly, you can always join other people's projects and contribute to other people's projects, which means that you also get to learn and contribute and help each other. So we are kind of building this network that self-sustains itself. I think it's a very powerful idea. And then beyond this, remember that everything that we are doing with this AMR education project and with this innovation challenge or microgrant challenge is just a first step to really building a robust structure to tackle AMR on the continent and beyond. So again, if you have any ideas or any opportunities where JOGL can collaborate and help amplify things, feel free to reach out to us. And of course, when we have ideas and specific ideas, we will also connect back to you and try to see how we can all collaborate. So let's keep talking, let's keep exchanging. I would pause and ask if anybody has any question for Chris about the microgrant process, or even if you still have a question for Lebo about design thinking, feel free to raise it.
I just got a couple of messages. So one of them was asking about when the grant deadline would be, most likely. It's not been completely set in stone yet, because we're partially seeing what the reception looks like and how quickly people are creating projects. But I would expect that 1 month from now, so today being one of the sort of official days of announcing the grant, I would expect that 1 month from now we'll probably close applications, and then we'll start the peer review process, which will take between 1 and 2 weeks, and then the funding will be given as soon as possible after that to the project which has done the best. the networking part, all the projects are visible online. So if you see that someone creates a project that is near you, so the challenge begins now. You can start writing at this moment. It ends likely in 1 month, I would say. It could be that people ask the deadline to be extended by 1 day so they can finish their project, and that's quite typical. But I would say most likely from 1 month from now. The networking part, as projects are visible, you'll be able to comment and also message people that created other projects. And what normally does very, very well is if you create a collaboration with multiple projects. So for example, if a few of you work in the hospital, then it could be that you could do a project which is not just in one hospital, but in a few hospitals, and present your work together. For example, to show that it's not just your hospital just having trouble in terms of AMR detection, but multiple. And this could make a big effect in terms of policy change. So it's just a small amount of money to start with. It could be that it has a knock-on effect that can create some big change. Yeah. Is there any questions that anyone would like to ask verbally? Okay. Well, that was my piece on the AMR Microgrant, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. I just also wanted to make another quick point that, again, remember that this is an opportunity for you to form teams and collaborate with others. So if maybe you belong to a student association in your university, or you already belong to a group, working on some sort of innovation project, might be a good idea to gather 3 people, 4 people together to kind of brainstorm, exchange ideas, and then apply for this grant. Because if you have perspectives from different people, different skills and expertise, you might have a stronger chance or a stronger opportunity to be able to successfully participate in the grants or in this project. So yeah, in the absence of, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I should say that in terms of networking, so you might see yourself in the Zoom call. So a lot of you might have been as a part of a space or part of the MOOC challenges. And so I'll just share my screen now. One way of finding people that might be interested in joining your team, and because everyone's extremely active, especially in the room still now, I'll just share my screen again. So one way of finding potential people that would join you, so there's about 73 members of the MOOC that learned all about AMR. And a lot of these people are technicians, interested also in the grant. You can find out people who are part of this here, and you can actually message them. So for example, if I saw that we have, so you can see this person here, Elvis, a water microbiologist. So we can maybe even approach Elvis, and they're in Ghana, and contact them through the contact button and can ask them questions. Would they be interested in creating a project with you? And maybe they've already got a project. So it looks like, yeah, so it looks like they're already interested in creating a project on the multi-drug resistance. Sorry. Can you hear us, Emily?
Hi guys, I don't know if you can hear me well. Unfortunately, it's raining rather heavily here, and also our electricity has just gone off. So I had to use mobile data to connect back. So yeah, I'll just share the rest of the, I'll just go to the rest of the presentation. Almost done. Okay, so just to share with you the next piece of events and activities that will be happening in terms of JOGL Africa more broadly. We are planning a workshop on science community engagement. It will be happening on the 10th of November. After that, we have an antimicrobial resistance awareness program. So the idea behind this AMR awareness program is to celebrate the global the Global Antibiotics Awareness Week from the WHO. We plan to identify some of the projects that will participate in the Microgrant Challenge, who may be interested to share more about what they are doing, the global audience. So invite the global JOGL community and other collaborators in our networks for you to share your ideas and your project ideas with them. Hopefully that will lead to more collaborations and more opportunities. And then we have another big event on the 24th, which we are looking at doing it with the Barcamp style, where we talk about different topics like intellectual property, project management, fundraising. We're talking about some aspects of innovation, which is not about the engineering or the science of it, but the contextual surrounding that might be interesting. So again, get ready for this session if you're interested to continue to collaborate with JOGL Africa. And then we have a networking event in December where we just relax and get to know more about each other, what we do, and also connect to other people with the ecosystem. So I hope that you will take notice of some of these events and put them on your calendars and join us when they come up. Okay, so thank you very much. Before you leave, I would like to take a group photo. It's more or less like a ritual that we do for this event. So if you'll be interested, please turn on your cameras so you can see your faces, and then we take one lovely, nice